For a short time 20 years ago, there was a mini trend in gaming where ancient Egypt was a thing. From Pharaoh to Power Slave, Tomb Raider to Sand Warriors, to Electronic Arts' action strategy title, Scarab. The Egyptian gods are battling for supremacy. The war rages between Ra, the god of the sun, and Osiris, the god of the afterlife. And in this arena shooter, they each have their team of robots, animal-headed pieces of machinery controlled by the disembodied spirits of Anubis, Horus, or Sekhmet. Each of the three mechs have their own strengths, weaknesses, and selection of special weapons. Horus, for example, is the fastest among the three, and can be equipped with rocket fuel modules that enable it to briefly fly. Sekhmet is slow but strong, and can carry a variety of mortars and formidable long-distance weapons. All of the well-known Egyptian gods are here, but only these three are represented as controllable mechs. Others are simply Machiavellian, an unseen instigator dropping off items at your feet. But that's about all the story you're going to get, as the why of it all is not really explained. John Ratcliffe, the designer, the developer, and the programmer of Scarab, by his own admission had little interest in the plot, so that's all we're going to get. There are two sides in the game, Ra, gold, and Osiris, blue, with a maximum of 3 mechs per team. The aim is to win the battle by either killing each player 3 times, or placing enough power towers to cover half the game map for a certain period of time. The maps demand you to know every inch of their large and intricate layout in order to utilise every strategic placement. They are maze-like in their design, with winding pathways suspended in mid-air, tunnels heading deep underground, or moving platforms taking you all over the place. There's a lot going on, and it will only disorientate you for your first few matches. Once you get ahead of the layout, you'll realise that these areas are actually pretty ingeniously designed. Everything about the game is designed first and foremost for its function. Placement of your energy turrets are always a concern, but there will always be obvious areas in open spaces which help. The platforms allow you to see what the enemy is doing from a distance, and even allow you to take aim at the towers too. You shouldn't expect deathmatch style gameplay, as whole swaths of time will pass before you even see your opponent, but when you do, the environment plays a huge part in your exchange of bullets. It's quite exhilarating chasing a mech version of Horus through the corridors of a pyramid. The visuals are entirely polygonal, which looked quite impressive in 1997. To modernise, however, they do look a little bit too blocky and simplistic. They do have a clean design that gives it a pleasingly nostalgic aura, but don't expect the complexity of Quake here. The game window is shrunk in the top left corner of the screen, with a number of readouts surrounding it. On the top right is your radar, which highlights surrounding towers. Below that is an overview of the map. This details your position as well as the areas covered by your energy towers. Underneath this is your health and shield. Your health is split over your limbs and body parts, with each of them being represented separately by colour. Your power bar is your strength. The closer you are to your own tower, the stronger your weapon will be. Then at the bottom we have your power-ups numbered 1 to 6. Select these with your number keys and you'll be granted with a variety of different abilities. You can call upon Ra to deliver more by selecting them from the menu just to the left of this, or you can find them in the game world represented as small grey pellets. Lastly, your HUD will display your event log, detailing all actions you've taken so far. This is useful to know if a request has been received or not, as well as telling you when your grace period is over. When you first enter a match, you are given this short grace period, in which you can go around placing towers and collecting power-ups with little fear of being damaged. However, if you do let off just one shot before this time is up, you give up your grace early, so you must use this time wisely. As soon as it's over, I recommend bringing up your shield by pressing delete. Not only does this shield you from harm, but is also used tactically in your defense. You can see your shield in the game screen represented as wireframe triangles surrounding your vision, but as you get hit, these triangles will fill in, allowing bullets to get through, as well as obscuring your view. You can hold the delete key to spin this defensive sphere so that you can see and even protect your weakest body parts. But what happens if your shield is completely destroyed and you are vulnerable to any kind of attack? Well, you can heal yourself and restore your shield, but they are more complex than your standard shooter. To heal yourself, you call upon a sarcophagus by pressing S, and your drone will deliver a healing station to your position. Step into it, and you'll slowly heal. Only one sarcophagus per team can exist at any one time, so choose its placement wisely. As you can tell by this lengthy description of the game mechanics, this isn't your typical first-person shooter. It is far more complex than that, and your enjoyment of it will be directly related to the time you spend getting to know all of its ins and outs. The problem here is that you are given little to no pointers in how to play. Even the manual and the help file equivalent give little away. So use this review as something of a noob's player's guide too. To get to grips with the game and its many obtuse intricacies, you will need to put aside a hell of a lot of time so you can figure it all out. Needless to say, taking the gung-ho approach of Quake or Doom is a surefire way to die quickly and often. The learning curve is perhaps the biggest hurdle to first-time players. There are so many different items and strategies, along with an unforgiving enemy AI that understands what's going on far better than you ever could. The designers suggest that the preferred method of control is by joystick, but I did find the use of a keyboard and mouse to be more than bearable. You hold the right mouse button to shoot directly ahead of you while walking, and the left will hold you in place for more precise aiming. In the slower paced context of S.C.A.R.A.B, it works, though I can imagine it would be a pain if it was attributed to something like Quake. Even so, you may be left fumbling in more heated situations, though the cities are big enough that there's always a place to hide and take a breather, if you can make it there unseen. I first played S.C.A.R.A.B back in the 90s thanks to a PC Gamer demo disc. I had no clue what I was doing, but the Egyptian setting and 3D visuals did intrigue me. I then came back to it 5 years ago to review it for my site, and I wasn't particularly kind. Playing it now, I found it to be a much more involving and entertaining experience. If you fancy giving S.C.A.R.A.B a go, head on over to the Collection Chamber website to find out how to get it running on Windows 10. I hope you like what I've been doing so far with the site and the channel, and if you do, give us a like, share, subscribe, and perhaps some bell ringing too. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Collection Chamber.